You are still watching Trailer News GH live, and we are welcoming the freshers on KNUST campus as promised, as said. And I have with me the all-time KNUST SRC presidential candidate, Samuel Sesah, and he's here with us. And then we would like to ask him one or two questions or interactions, and then we get deep to ask us what is really going on in the KNUST SRC. Welcome, Sesah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God, I'm fine. I hope you are too.
By grace, you're also doing well. So, Mr. Sesah, most of the continuing students know you. Samuel Sesah, you're all over. Now we have freshers on campus, and I believe that we are looking forward for the conduction of the KNUST election. So we would like to speak with us. If a fresher is new on campus, I mean, he hears of Samuel Sesah. Samuel Sesah. Who is Samuel Sesah? What can you tell such a fresher?
All right. I think I've been doing this for a very long time. To a fresher out today, I'm sure even with my nose marks, you can't actually make out my face. But then, one thing that we need to connect with is the words that we speak. You know, people can actually know you by the words that you put out there. My name is Samuel Sesah. Currently, I'm in level 500 reading Doctor of Optometry. You know what? I'm definitely going to meet you in your classrooms. I'm definitely going to meet you sometimes in your halls. We'll meet one way or the other on campus. You might not be partaking in our elections, but I'm confident that when I become your SRC president, I'll always defend your cause. I'll always stand and fight for you. I'll be your mouth. So wherever you see me, try as much as possible. Get closer. Tell me your worries. Tell me your needs. I am not a monster. Neither will I be lazy or rest on our issues. I'm very confident and optimistic that I will deliver. So when you see me, tell me that we will defy the odds, and I'll respond that yes, certainly we will.
So how has it been? What has been your observation?
So far, I think everything has been handled perfectly well. This morning, I have taken my turn to visit the KNUST police station. And then when I asked them, I think a number of policemen have been deployed around the university, within the university, to control traffic, to look at thievery, to consider the safety and the security of students. So I think so far with our security, with traffic flow and then other issues, they are all fine. I can see COVID-19 protocols being strictly adhered to. This morning, myself, I have seen the Vice Chancellor, our mother. She's even in a mufti, going around in a disguise, going around trying to see whether things are going on well. So I think we are in safe hands. The fumigation that went on to, it has made things better on campus.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So speaking with the Vice Chancellor, we would like to know, we are all been assuming that KNUST is admitting a huge number of students, and for that matter, first free SHS batch, and then we are expecting a huge number of students on campus. So what do you think management have put in place? Since you have already spoken with the Vice Chancellor, do you think that the best spaces and other conditions will be enough or sufficient to cater for them?
I've been very observant. I've not had an encounter with the Vice Chancellor yet, but then I've been very observant. That's why I saw her moving around herself. I think with the numbers that we are receiving this year, each year we have accommodation crisis. But by the grace of God, we have a newly built hostel on campus here, and then we have more hostels off campus. I think that this is the time where we need to make sure that the right things are done, and then at the end of the day, students can get access to lecture hall, students can get access to accommodation, but most importantly, I think with the COVID-19 around, a lot of virtual activities will go place, so we'll still be safe. We should still be safe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we are still with Samuel Sesah, KNUST SRC presidential candidate. Now, Mr. Sesah, KNUST students have been pressing on Trailer News GH for us to ask you this question. There was a time that we saw Samuel Sesah visiting the Rent and Control Authority, speaking about the KNUST hostel accommodation crisis and all of that. We saw a lot of campaign, a lot of persistency here and there, campaigning so that there will be enough accommodation for students. But the issue still remain unconcerned. Nobody has actually stood up to fight for the students. We would like to know from you. We are not so far away from election. What's your team doing to make sure that the accommodation problem on KNUST campus is resolved?
You know, the reason why the issue has been unaddressed is not because we have stopped actually fighting or advocating for it, but then in our pursuit of getting the deed done, actually we got to an extent where they needed student leaders to actually pursue that cause. But you always know that there's even a local adage that we that we want to pursue the cause, we are the ones who know the in-depth details about it and then how to even pursue it. At the moment we have interim executives who are leading us. I will not say they've not pursued it because they lack the know-how, but then I'm actually sure they have other several issues to actually deal with, or constitutionally they will not be mandated to pursue that cause. But then I know that we'll be able to do it. We've actually seen the appropriate authorities, the Ministry of Tourism, the Rent Authority in Kumasi here. We've actually spoken to a lot of stakeholders who are involved into this decision. This is not the only thing that we've done. Even in the midst of coronavirus, where students were being sacked from their hostels, a typical example like Ivandi, like other hostels that were around, or Seven and many others, we actually spoke to the cause to make sure that students' items were not going to be touched. This is not the first accommodation activism that I've pursued. In 2018, students were being compulsorily asked to go home for Christmas vacation. And then we actually petitioned the university authorities to allow students to stay for the Christmas and then be able to learn for their exams in January. For me, I do not see this as a cliche or as a political stunt or a campaign stunt, but I see this as a deed that I need to complete. That is why any continuing student out there need not to rest. But then until we vote for Samuel Sesah and Maurice Ifa as our SRC president and vice president respectively, we do not rest or put an end to it.
So, Samuel Sesah, should KNUST students expect that in the administration of Samuel Sesah, the accommodation crisis will be resolved?
You know what? I would say yes, but then I'll put an explanation to it. The explanation I'm putting to it is that, these are long-lasting issues, and then accommodation crisis will not be resolved if this year we are able to negotiate about 1,000 hostel built around KNUST, and then the next year the school decides to take about 30,000 students. But what we are going to do is that we are going to actively be in discussion with the university so that they take numbers that can actually be accommodated and then will actually be catered for within and around the university environs. We are also going to discuss the pricing of the hostels, the halls, and many others. The accommodation crisis comes in several dimensions: the pricing, the availability. When there are available hostels, the pricings will go down. But once the hostels are not even there, in economics it's called competitive marketing. Once the demand is high, the prices will definitely go high. So we need to actually delve into all these and then make sure that a proper strategic plan about these will be put in place so that every successive government is going to follow it.
The KNUST accommodation crisis will be resolved, and he has explained that. So now, Sesah, about the KNUST elections, when are we looking forward for the conduction of the election?
I think some time back I saw the academic calendar being released by the university. Once the academic calendar is in now, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of every SRC aspirant that the interim electoral commissioner, needs to come out with a proposed electoral timetable.
But has there been any engagements with the SRC aspirants, the interim SRC? Has there been any engagements with you guys with respect to how they are preparing to conducting the election?
As aspirants, I can't tell whether we've been engaged collectively. But what I am actually in the know of is that the electoral commissioner and I have had engagements, informal engagements. We've had a bit of talks. But then as to a formal engagement as collective SRC aspirants, we are looking forward to that. That has not yet happened, so we are looking forward to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's from Samuel Sesah. Now, we take your last words. What are your words to KNUST students watching you out there, especially the freshers that have just arrived on campus? What should they expect from Samuel Sesah?
What I want to tell them is that in 2021, looking at the academic calendar, we will be completing we'll be actually pursuing 2 academic years. We'll be completing an academic year within the year, and then we'll be starting one possibly in September. We need to actually make sure that whatever we've lost in the previous time, we make amends and then get them. We need to make sure that we stay put to our books. We need to make sure we stay put to the destinies that lies ahead of us. I'm confident in majority of the students in KNUST, and I know that as an SRC, if I become your president, if I give you the opportunities and the necessary platforms to develop yourself, you will come out as one of the best products out of universities in Ghana here. KNUST is one of the best universities, and I'll make the SRC one of the best for you also. I know that we'll develop, and I know that we are going to make sure that at the end of the day, you'll be proud of us. That is what I want to tell you. My name is Samuel Sesah. If you get the opportunity to go to the polls, know that you need to vote for Samuel Sesah, and let's defy the odds. Thank you.
Let's defy the odds. That's from Samuel Sesah. Samuel Sesah, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Alright, so you are still live on Trailer News GH, and we are bringing you all the updates from KNUST. We'll be speaking to all the aspirants. We'll be speaking to most of the prominent people that you have been waiting to hear from them. Stay tuned.